The next 3-game impact, always a fun little video. And this one we're going to focus on my rankings of the best buys, the best teams to look at, and obviously a little update on which teams have buys left. I went back and had a quick look at how many trades I actually had left at certain parts of the season. And I'm in exactly the same spot as I was last year, surprisingly enough, having 4 trades coming into round 18 there. And then last year, I used 2 trades there to leave me with 2. Coming into 19, then I used 1 for 19, which left me with 1 left over for round 20 and for the rest of the year. So 9 left over once I got the extra 8 trades. And then you see I used 3 in that one, then 2, and then left me with 2 trades left for round 23 to round 27, which I used 1 in round 23 and 1 in round 26. So yeah, fairly lucky to get through obviously all those rounds, but then in round 27 we got cooked as well. So looking at that, it probably means round 20 you wouldn't want to make if I end up in the same spot, which I think I probably will. Obviously losing JMK is pretty tough for myself, but you know, looking to get guys like Hines and these types of players, I'm probably going to be using 3 trades over the next 2 weeks as well to get 2 really good scores and push me in the right direction, obviously, and then leaving me with 9 for the last 8 rounds again, which not the end of the world, but it does mean I probably can't triple trade like I did last year in that week, and then I doubled. Maybe it's like saving 2 more trades and then leaving, you know, an extra couple of trades there for round 23 to 26 and have 4 for the back 5 rounds, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, right? That's probably just, something to note. But yeah, this is in the how I finished 101st in 2023 video, which is, a fun one to make for sure. And what ended up with views? 1,500 views. Definitely should have got a few more views than that. This is one of the most important videos of the season in my opinion. But that is just my opinion. But you guys are here to watch me, and I really suggest you watch the one I make at the end of this year as well. Watch it straight away, and then, you know, if you want to skip through a bit and just kind of have a look at, you know, how my season unfolded, but then have a look in the preseason as well. I think it's super important. So yeah, just wanted to touch base with that one there. So let's go firstly with my best buys for the week. And the team to target is actually the Rabbitohs. So they just got through their final buy. So the Rabbitohs and the Titans are done with buys for the rest of the year. It's pretty exciting, that's for sure. And in terms of teams without buys for the rest of the buy period, you've got the Eagles, Broncos, the Knights there, and then you have the Bunnies, and then you have the Titans and the Tigers. And once Dolphins get through this week, they'll be done for the buy period and for the rest of the year as well. But it is Titans and Bunnies at the moment. And when you're looking at best teams to buy, I'm looking at the run they have, and I'm also looking at the amount of or types of players you can be purchasing. So I think Bunnies have enough with Cook, Keon, Latrell as clear ones, and then, you know, potentially Murray in the back end. So 4 really top guns, and then you obviously go cheapies and in like Whiten and these types of players as well, right? So that's the Bunnies coming into this week. They also have the Eels, Dolphins, and the Tigers. So I'm putting that down as a slightly easier run, especially for them this week, like with Latrell there. I think that's going to be really, really helpful. I'm going to be very jealous as a non-Latrell owner, that's for sure. And then they've got Dolphins with a couple of players out each. Obviously, you know, Fuller's going to be there instead of Hammer. So how much do they actually lose out compared to obviously Latrell being out and Murray? And Tigers in round 20. So have a look at the Rabbitohs for sure. I have them number 1 on my list. Number 2 on the list, I have Sharks. It was a very, very close top 2 battle just because there's so many guys you can buy from the Sharkies, but they do have a buy in round 20, whereas Bunnies are done for the rest of the year now. And also with the Bunnies, you have to look at, obviously, the back end of the schedule. If they're getting closer to the 8, they won't be able to rest any of their top guns. So that's another really, really good thing to look at with the Bunnies there for sure. For the Sharkies, they're in 3rd spot at the moment. They could easily stick around this top 4, and they may get to the end of the year and rest players. So they don't have the best schedule for that reason, plus the round 20 buy, which is, you know, not the hardest buy to cover at this stage, but there will be people backing up from Origin or trying to or not, right? So there's that to think about for round 20 as well. So that's the second best team for the Sharkies because they got Britton Nikora, they've got Hines. You've got guys like Jesse Ramian who are potentially interesting as well. Cam McInnes, all those types of players that you could look at. So that's the second best team to target in my opinion. Third is going to be the Knights. So they don't have another bye, as I said, in the period. They miss round 21, which will be fairly easy to cover. given everyone will be back and fit and firing and ready to go for the back 7 rounds of the season. So they have a few guys. Obviously, Greg Marzhew is an interesting one this week. You got Ponga eventually. People have Sharp. People have KPP. People might be holding Adam Elliott. You might be looking at Dylan Lucas. You could be looking at Gagai or Frizzell. Bradman Best. There's lots of guys to obviously have a look at in that Knights section, and some cheaper middles as well. So yeah, Knights are third on the list just because the run they have is Raiders, Eagles, Broncos. Not too difficult, but post-bye it is the Panthers. So they are third on the list. Fourth on the list, I have the Seagulls. So they have obviously no more buys, as I said, through this period, and missed round 22, which is their final one. And a very easy one at that, because for most head-to-head leagues as well, you'll play 23, 24, 25, 26. And that means it's the week before. So as long as you're in a good position, you're in with a shot to make that top 4 or top 8 or whatever you need to be in, then they're going to be a really good team to grab with some nice targets in the next 3 weeks. Cowboys away, but then Knights and Titans home, and they're kind of building into it. You've got guys like Tommy Trbojevic, who comes back this week, and people might look to target. If Tolu Kola ends up actually playing fullback this time, then people will be interested in him. You've got Garrick to have a look at. You've got some of the middles, the cheaper middles in Nathan Brown and these types of players there. So plenty to look at, that's for sure, in that Seagulls team there. That's for sure. And then maybe DCE after round 22 could be fun too. And they'll be fighting for the 8. So that should be sweet on their front. Similar to that with the Knights, you don't expect much resting in the back end there. And the 5th team I've got is the Titans, just because they're out of buys now. They play Sharks, Eels, and Eagles, which is a good little run. But in terms of actual guys you can look to buy, I don't know if you'd buy Fafita this week, given I think there's a decent chance he plays in Origin in round 19. But we do have Jaden Sewer, who played a really, really good game on the weekend, and the Dragons actually play the Roosters. So if he comes up against Angus Crichton this week. So if he has a good little run against Angus Crichton this week, I think he'll keep his spot. He would have learned from his mistakes in Origin 2, and the team will be better as well around him. So yeah, let's hope that's a good game for Jaden Sewer. But for the Titans, yeah, you got Fafita, you got guys like Beau Fermor, AJ Brimson likely to return this week as an option, Jaden Campbell next week potentially as well. So yeah, there's a few options. No one clearly stands out. You got Brian Kelly and these types of players, so that's why I've got them a little bit later, just because there's a few less options. So let's go for the rest of the teams now. Tigers up top. They have one more bye in round 26, but they have a really tough run of games. Storm, Sharks, Rabbitohs with like a chance that Latrell backs up into Warriors away. So there's a fairly tough next couple of weeks at minimum, with Sharks basically being full strength in that week. They will be. So really, who are you buying from them at this stage? Like you've got potentially Appy, Fainu, you've got Galvin, good chance. So I think it's mainly just holds for the Tigers. You've got Bateman coming back, and he'll get some more minutes. He'll be fairly cheap in the next few weeks, but outside of that, I'm not sure who you're buying from the Tigs. So that's why. Dolphins have a bye this week, but hold on to pretty much all of them except for JMK if he's out with the list Frank. You can hold this week if you don't need an extra player, but you could also sell. That's fine too. For them in that one, probably not much else to say other than that, a few of those guys will be purchases in the following week. But they do have Panthers in round 20, hopefully with some, it's going to be the return game of Cleary most likely, so something to note there for sure. For the Storm, they missed round 19, obviously, but still a really good team to target with guys like Eli Katoa getting cheaper. Jerome Hughes is 800k now, doing good things. Pap's eventually going to be back and firing. Wonder what's going to happen with Munster, the Wishart situation. Harry Grant's really cheap for people that want to buy him in like around 21. A bunch of things to think about, but they're also a team that's going to be easily able to rest their stars at the end, so I wouldn't be buying too many Storm stars. Dolphins, they'll be fighting, I think, for the 8, to be fair, the way they're going at the moment. So, good chance they'll have to play all of their guys in the back end. Panthers are up next. So, for the Panthers, they have that round 19 to buy as well. I don't think you look to purchase any of their guys at the moment. Obviously, guys like Cleary will be a target in the back end, but if they're in the top 4, expect restings in the back. Maybe an Isaiah Yeo resting in round 20, some of the Origin guys, or in the later rounds of the season, like Titans in the last round could be a resting game, or one of these 2 games before, Raiders and Rabbitohs could be a resting game as well. So just keep that in mind for Panthers. Wouldn't look to buy any of them right now, But yeah, keep them in your radar for sure. Dogs are up next. So Warriors into the bye into Cowboys Broncos. So once round 19's out of the way, obviously guys like Reed Marnie, potentially Jacob Preston, Kiraz, Stephen Crichton keeps getting cheaper. I thought he was going to brain it last week and he didn't. Hit a shocker. Kickout could be interesting. Like there's a few guys that could be interesting without being perfect purchases. Matt Burton are in there as well. Jamin Salmon. No, I'm kidding. Eagles are next. So they obviously play 18 and 19. So still guys like Matto, Cartwright could be look-ins. If you want to hold Dylan Brown, cool. If you want to hold Talangi, cool. Outside of that, the outside backs, nothing special. Middles, So that's probably those two. And those two are bust. And then following that, Moses and these types of players. So keep that in mind for a couple of Eel stars. Raiders, you've got the Knights into a bye. But for them, really outside of like Tarpanay, there's not really many purchases. Potentially Jamal Fogarty post that bye, and they'll be fighting for the 8. I don't expect any restings for Raiders players. For the Dragons, they have a really, really tough game. They basically have the 5 hardest teams in a row, actually, they do. Broncos away should be tough. They'll be needing... Oh, that's round 19, isn't it? Oh, I'll be baby Broncos. Not as hard. But Roosters away, Broncos away into the bye, into Panthers away, Storm away, Bulldogs at home. Wow, that's a tough five-game stretch. And then the Titans, who are absolutely incredible, and Sharky. So, Dragons are tougher run. You're probably not going for any outside backs anyway until Lomax is back after Origin. So, Dragons for me is probably Jacob Little or bust, and that could be tough for Jacob Little to get big points and big attacking stats against those tougher teams. So, yeah, a little bit worried about that. Broncos are up next. They don't have a bye until round 24, so that's good news for them. But they've got Panthers into Dragons and Knights. Obviously a harder one this week. No one I'd really look to buy, and then it's only really Origin guys you'd look at from the Broncos, outside of Willison last week and then holding like Piakura, like myself, and Jack Goz, the best cash out of the year. Oh god. We spoke about Eagles, Warriors. We've got Warriors, Roosters, and Cowboys. All have 2 buys left, so I really caution you buying any of them. Hold is fine, but I wouldn't be looking to purchase. Guys like Connor Watson, I do understand, probably. If he's going to get massive minutes of 13 and potentially splitting with 9, then I think that's great. If he's not going to get the full 80 at his price, it's probably not worth it. Crichton, you could look at, but his negatives have been massive, and they've got that round 23 buy, so it's pretty tough for the Roosters. For the Wars, they missed the last game of the round of the year. So I suppose if you feel them going to get rested anyway, then they have a buy anyway, but I think they'll be pushing for an 8 spot if they get that opportunity. So yeah, it's something to note. Obviously, I don't think many of them are purchases this week. It's kind of like Barnett or bust in round 20 or 21. So that's it for Warriors. And then the Cowboys to finish off. If you've got Drinkwater, I think it's a fine hold this week against Eagles at home. They have a lot of home games. They've got to buy into Dogs, Sharks, Tigers, Broncos, Raiders. It's not the most hectic schedule at all, and then Storm Bulldogs to finish. So it's not super pretty for guys like Drinkwater. If you potentially have lots of trades left, then I understand he might be a move on in like round 19 because of these games coming up. I know personally in Supercoach I've got heaps of trades left, 18. So Drinkwater, I'll probably move on to like a Latrell or something like that in round 21 after, I imagine Latrell's going to rest in round 20. So, making those splashes to Latrells and getting Clearys and making these upgrades is going to be pretty important if you can do it. And the Cowboys players, Cotter might be a sell in round 19, given he, could be a resting candidate in 20, missed 25 there. So lots to think about with those teams, especially missing 2 games. So just avoid buying them, I think. And if you're holding, fine, but be prepared that they might be a player that you could find to be expendable in your side and use as a trade out target. So there you go. That's the 3-game impact, guys. We obviously have by 4 p.m. this afternoon, in 4 hours there, we'll have those team lists and we'll be able to make some further calls on certain players. And I'll get Maddie on tomorrow morning. We'll have a video about lunchtime or something like that about the buy, hold, sell, and a bit about his team and strategy and everything like that, as we always do. And wish all of you guys the best of luck heading into round 18. I hope you guys had a good round 17 and a lovely weekend. See you, team.